I've spent over 5 decades navigating the skies, from control towers to airport terminals. And let me tell you, the world of air travel in 2026 is a beast few truly understand. What I'm about to share isn't just theory. It's born from countless stories of travelers getting caught off guard, costing them hundreds of dollars, missed connections, and pure agony. Most passengers don't know it, but modern airports, with their sophisticated AI scanners and tightened protocols, are unforgiving of ignorance. And sometimes they can feel like they're actively working against you. Take Eleanor Vance, a 72-year-old retired history teacher from Omaha, Nebraska. Eleanor was beyond excited, practically bubbling with anticipation for her trip to Paris, France, to see her granddaughter. She'd meticulously packed her carry-on, including a compact, pastel-colored plastic organizer filled with her daily vitamins and a few over-the-counter sleep aids, believing she was being efficient. It felt like the sensible thing to do. Why carry bulky, half-empty bottles? She was a careful planner, someone who always wanted to be prepared. But when she reached Paris Charles de Gaulle and went through security for her connecting flight, the state-of-the-art AI scanners lit up. Her little plastic organizer, filled with unlabeled pills, immediately flagged her bag. A security officer, solemn and unsmiling, pulled her aside. They spoke little English, and Eleanor, flustered, tried to explain they were just her vitamins. She saw the officer's eyes glance at her hands, which trembled ever so slightly from the stress. But there was no explanation, no patience. Her unlabeled pills were confiscated for chemical analysis, and without them, she was held up just long enough to see her next flight to Rome begin boarding without her. She missed her connection entirely, facing a stressful, hours-long interrogation and the crushing disappointment of being stuck in a foreign airport. The problem, as I've seen countless times, is that personal convenience simply doesn't outweigh international security rules, especially when it comes to medications. In today's heightened security environment, especially since 2026, any unlabeled pills, no matter how innocent they seem, are considered a potential risk. These new AI scanners are cross-referencing databases faster than you can say customs declaration, and they flag anything they can't immediately identify. It's not about malicious intent, it's about protocol and preventing everything from illegal drug smuggling to accidental poisonings. Security personnel simply cannot take your word for it, nor are they trained to differentiate between a vitamin and a controlled substance based on appearance alone. This isn't a ploy to make money. It's a non-negotiable safety measure. So, how do you avoid Eleanor's predicament? It's simple, but absolutely critical. All medications, prescription or over-the-counter, must remain in their original pharmacy-labeled bottles or packaging. If it's a prescription, make sure your name, the drug name, the dosage, and the pharmacy information are clearly visible. For over-the-counter items like vitamins or ibuprofen, keep them in their original sealed containers, or at the very least, in a small bag with the original product label taped to it. It might feel like a hassle to carry multiple bottles, but it will save you untold stress, potential confiscation, and even a missed flight. When in doubt, a quick internet search for your destination country's specific medication import rules is always a smart move. Now, shifting gears to another common and surprisingly costly oversight: smart luggage. Mark Jensen, a 34-year-old tech entrepreneur from Austin, Texas, learned this lesson the hard way. He arrived at LAX for a crucial business trip to Tokyo, brimming with confidence. He had just bought the latest, sleekest smart luggage, boasting built-in GPS tracking, USB charging ports, and even a digital scale. He loved showing off its features, convinced it was the future of travel. He'd even packed critical business documents inside, assuming his advanced bag would make his journey seamless. He confidently approached the check-in counter, but the airline agent simply shook her head. "Sir, I'm sorry, but we cannot accept this bag." Mark was stunned. He explained all the features, how expensive it was, but the agent pointed to a small tag on the bag and then to a sign behind her. The issue? The smart luggage had a non-removable lithium-ion battery. The agent calmly informed him it was a fire risk, citing a strict new policy implemented across major airlines since late 2025. Not only could he not check it, but because of its size, he couldn't carry it on either. Mark, caught completely off guard, was faced with an impossible choice: miss his flight to secure his luggage, or abandon it to make his flight and a vital meeting. He had to leave his brand-new $600 bag and those irreplaceable documents right there at the counter. Mark's story is a stark reminder that while technology aims to simplify our lives, it can introduce new complications, especially in the tightly regulated world of air travel. The non-removable battery in his smart luggage posed a significant fire hazard in the cargo hold, and airlines are now taking zero chances. These batteries, if damaged, can overheat and ignite, leading to catastrophic consequences on an aircraft. It's a genuine safety concern, not a hidden fee or a trick to separate you from your belongings. The rules, which gained traction globally in 2026, are clear. Any bag containing a lithium-ion battery must either have the battery removed or be compliant with strict carry-on-only guidelines if the battery is embedded. So, what should Mark have done, and what can you do? If you're investing in smart luggage, make absolutely certain it features an easily removable battery. This means you can quickly pop it out before checking the bag, or if you need to gate check it. Most reputable smart luggage brands now offer this design, but always double-check the specifications before you buy. If the battery is embedded and cannot be removed, you'll likely be restricted to carrying it on board, provided it fits within the airline's size and weight limits, and the battery capacity meets regulations. Don't risk losing your bag, or worse, causing a flight delay or even a safety incident. A quick call to your airline or a check on their website will tell you their specific battery rules. Do you usually check if a battery is removable before packing? It's a small detail that can save you a fortune. These two stories, Eleanor's and Mark's, are just a glimpse into the evolving landscape of air travel. The rules are tightening, technology is advancing, and ignorance is simply no longer an excuse. Knowing these specific rules about your medications and your smart luggage can be the difference between a smooth journey and a travel nightmare. Equip yourself with this knowledge, and you'll avoid the headaches and hidden costs that catch so many off guard. I've spent 50 years in aviation, and what I'm about to tell you could save you from losing hundreds of dollars in electronics, or even worse, facing legal trouble abroad. You might think you're prepared, but even the most common gadgets you carry today can turn into major liabilities without you ever seeing it coming. Those rules about lithium batteries in your smart luggage? They extend far beyond just your bags. Imagine this. Dave Miller, a 48-year-old IT consultant from Denver, Colorado, was flying from Denver International to Hong Kong for a critical business meeting. Dave prided himself on being prepared. especially when it came to his tech. He always packed a colossal power bank, a heavy 200-watt-hour brick to keep all his devices charged during those long transcontinental flights. He'd meticulously tucked it into his carry-on, just as he always did, thinking he was golden. But as he approached the security checkpoint, a Transportation Security Administration officer flagged his bag. Dave watched, a knot forming in his stomach, as the officer meticulously scanned the power bank. "Sir," the officer stated, a grim look on his face, "this power bank is 200 watt-hours. Anything over 160 watt-hours is banned from both carry-on and checked luggage. It's a fire risk." Dave, baffled, tried to argue, explaining he'd carried it on dozens of flights. But the rule, he was informed, had changed and was strictly enforced for international travel due to heightened safety concerns regarding high-capacity lithium-ion batteries. Dave had no choice but to watch his expensive, top-of-the-line power bank, easily worth well over $100, confiscated on the spot. He spent the entire 15-hour flight worried about his phone battery dying and missing important emails. The problem here is a common oversight. Many travelers don't realize that the capacity of their power banks, measured in watt-hours, has strict limits. While smaller power banks, usually under 100 watt-hours, are generally fine in carry-ons, anything approaching or exceeding 160 watt-hours is almost universally prohibited on commercial flights, whether checked or carried on. These regulations are designed to prevent potential fires from overheating lithium batteries in the confined space of an aircraft. It's a rule born from real incidents, not arbitrary restrictions. So, what should you do? Before you pack any portable charger, find its watt-hour rating. It's usually printed on the device itself or in the user manual. Make sure it's below the 160 watt-hour threshold if you plan to travel internationally or even domestically on some stricter carriers. If you have a large one, invest in a smaller, compliant one for air travel. A quick Google search for your airline's specific battery policy is always a smart move. It's a small check that can save you a significant loss. But it's not just batteries that can land you in hot water. Let me tell you about Sarah Chen, a 29-year-old graphic designer from Portland, Oregon. Sarah was flying from Portland International to Dubai, United Arab Emirates, excited about a design conference. Sarah, like many, used a popular e-cigarette to relieve stress, and it was a comfort item she always carried in her purse. She never gave it a second thought as she passed through security in the States. Upon landing in Dubai, however, things took a turn. As she went through customs, an officer, after a routine chemical swab of her vape, informed her that e-cigarettes were completely illegal in the UAE. Sarah's heart sank. She was detained for several hours, questioned, and eventually fined several $100s. To make matters worse, she faced temporary travel restrictions within the country, forcing her to alter her conference plans. Her stress reliever had become her biggest headache, all because she hadn't checked a seemingly minor detail. Sarah's situation highlights a critical issue: the global patchwork of bans and restrictions on seemingly innocuous items. While e-cigarettes are widely accepted in many parts of the world, other countries have outright prohibitions, and the penalties can be severe. These aren't just minor infractions. They can lead to fines, detention, or even more serious legal trouble. The chemical detection swabs customs officers used on Sarah's vape are increasingly common, designed to identify prohibited substances quickly and efficiently. So, here's your mental checklist to avoid such traps. First, for any electronic device with a lithium battery, Verify its watt-hour rating. Always aim for under 160 watt-hours for carry-on items. And remember that anything larger is likely banned entirely. Second, and crucially, always research your destination country's specific laws regarding common items like e-cigarettes, certain medications, or even specific types of over-the-counter drugs. A few minutes on the U.S. Embassy website for your destination or the airline's official travel advisory page can save you thousands of dollars, untold stress, and potential legal complications. Don't let ignorance turn your trip into a nightmare. Knowing these rules empowers you. I've been in the aviation game for 5 decades, and I can tell you this. While those tiny drones and clever hidden cameras might seem like innocent fun or smart safety measures, in the wrong hands, or even appearing to be in the wrong hands, they can land you in serious hot water. I have personally seen travelers lose far more than just a few bucks. They've lost their freedom and their peace of mind. Think of it this way. Some seemingly harmless items can create major headaches, but that was just the tip of the iceberg. Today, let's dive into gadgets that look like they've walked straight out of a spy movie. Imagine trying to capture that picture-perfect, once-in-a-lifetime aerial shot of an ancient wonder, only to find yourself staring down an immigration officer instead of your camera's viewfinder, facing a grueling interrogation. That's precisely what happened to Arthur Thompson, a 61-year-old retired engineer from Boston, Massachusetts. Arthur, a meticulous planner and avid amateur photographer, had spent months organizing his dream trip to Egypt, thrilled to capture the pyramids and Luxor from truly unique angles. He'd carefully packed his brand-new palm-sized foldable drone, a device no bigger than a paperback book, convinced it would be a harmless way to elevate his vacation photos. Arthur arrived at Cairo International Airport, his carry-on bag sailing through the X-ray machine just like hundreds of others. But then, the conveyor belt ground to a halt. A security officer, his face unyielding, pointed first to the screen, then to Arthur's bag. The drone, with its intricate components, had instantly raised a red flag. Citing national security concerns, the officers immediately confiscated the device. What followed was a bewildering 2-hour interrogation about his intentions, his travel itinerary, and why he possessed such unregistered aerial equipment. He barely made his pre-booked tour group. His carefully planned schedule dissolved into a stressful blur of questions and paperwork. Arthur felt a profound sense of helplessness as his expensive gadget, which he genuinely intended for innocent photography, was seized without a second thought, deemed a potential threat. Here's the critical takeaway. Many countries, especially those with sensitive geopolitical situations or significant historical sites, enforce outright bans or extremely stringent regulations on drones. These aren't simply minor rules. They're often deeply tied to national security, counter-terrorism efforts, and the imperative to protect priceless historical landmarks from both intentional harm and accidental damage. Arthur's big mistake was assuming that, because his drone was small and readily available for purchase in the United States, it would be universally accepted elsewhere. He didn't grasp that an unregistered drone in a sensitive region could instantly escalate from a harmless hobby item to a suspected surveillance tool. The implications can be incredibly severe, ranging from hefty fines that can easily run into thousands of dollars to detention and even formal charges, all depending on the country's specific laws. So, how do you sidestep Arthur's predicament? It's simple, but it requires diligence. Before you even consider packing a drone, no matter how tiny or seemingly innocent, do your homework. Seriously, dig in. Check the U.S. State Department's travel advisories for your destination. Scour the country's official embassy website and research local drone laws meticulously. Look specifically for requirements for permits, designated flight zones, and intricate registration processes. In countless cases, the only legitimate way to fly a drone in certain countries is through a licensed local operator who has secured official permissions, not as a casual tourist. If you can't get a crystal clear answer, or if the process seems overwhelmingly complicated, it's always safer to leave that drone at home. Are a few cool aerial shots truly worth risking your freedom or torpedoing your entire trip? I'd say probably not. But hold on. Drones aren't the only gadgets that can land you in scorching hot water. What if your peace of mind device is suddenly perceived as a tool for espionage? This isn't just a hypothetical. It's a rapidly growing concern, particularly with the proliferation of AI-powered detection systems at airports worldwide. Let me tell you about the unsettling experience of Jessica Davis, a 38-year-old popular travel vlogger from Miami, Florida. Jessica, known for her invaluable solo female travel tips, always carried what she affectionately called a nanny cam, cleverly disguised as a standard USB phone charger. She'd purchased it online, convinced it was a brilliant way to ensure her safety in unfamiliar hotel rooms or public spaces, recording discreetly if she ever felt uneasy. While transiting through Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, Jessica's carry-on passed through an advanced baggage scanner. The AI system, meticulously designed to identify anomalies and suspicious configurations within electronic devices, immediately flagged her innocent-looking charger. That disguised camera, with its minuscule lens and covert recording components, stood out like a beacon to the sophisticated detectors. Jessica was promptly pulled into a private screening room, where her device was swiftly identified, seized, and she was subjected to hours of intense questioning. The security officers didn't see her nanny cam as a personal safety tool. They saw it as a sophisticated covert recording device, a potential instrument of espionage. The sheer terror of being accused of something so grave, simply because of a device she genuinely thought was protective, was utterly overwhelming. The core issue here boils down to perception. If a gadget looks like a spy tool, especially to the increasingly sophisticated AI detection systems and RF scanners employed in sensitive regions, it will be treated as exactly that. These high-tech systems simply don't differentiate between your personal intent and the device's inherent potential capability. A USB charger with a hidden camera is, by its very nature, a covert recording device. Security personnel, particularly in countries with strict surveillance laws or heightened national security concerns, are rigorously trained to be suspicious of anything that could be used to gather intelligence without authorization. This isn't about being paranoid. It's about having a clear-eyed understanding of how technology is interpreted in profoundly different legal and cultural contexts around the world. My strongest advice here is unequivocal. Leave any covert recording devices at home. Period. Whether it's a pen equipped with a camera, a button housing a microphone, or a USB charger with a hidden lens, these items are deliberately designed to be inconspicuous for a specific reason. And that reason is precisely what makes them an undeniable red flag for airport security. If your device's primary function is to record secretly, or if it's engineered to look like something it's fundamentally not, it introduces an unnecessary and potentially very dangerous risk into your travels. Don't gamble your trip, your freedom, or your hard-earned reputation on a dubious gadget. When in doubt, always err on the side of extreme caution and opt for overt, clearly identifiable recording devices if you absolutely, positively need them. Now, let me be clear. These stories aren't meant to scare you away from the joys of travel. My goal is to empower you with the essential knowledge to confidently navigate the ever-increasing complexities of international security. The world of aviation is constantly evolving, with cutting-edge detection technologies and frequently shifting national regulations. So here's the paramount takeaway. When it comes to gadgets, especially those designed to fly or record covertly, always ask yourself, loud and clear, how might this really be perceived by security officials in a foreign country? Thorough research, plain old common sense, and a firm willingness to leave questionable items behind are, without a doubt, your absolute best defenses. Don't let preventable ignorance turn your well-deserved vacation or a crucial business trip into a living nightmare. Have you ever encountered a situation where a seemingly innocent item caused unexpected trouble at the airport? Tell me about it. I've spent 50 years navigating the intricate world of aviation, and what I'm about to tell you could save you from legal trouble that most travelers never even consider. Imagine thinking you're following the rules, only to discover an innocent item in your luggage has put your entire trip and potentially your freedom at risk. This isn't about prohibited weapons or obvious contraband. This is about a lack of knowledge that costs everyday people thousands of dollars and countless hours of stress. Let me start with Gary Stevens, a kind 55-year-old small business owner from Chicago, Illinois. Suffering from chronic back pain, Gary found immense relief with a particular CBD oil, perfectly legal in the States, with its trace amounts of THC. For a crucial business trip from O'Hare to Narita, he packed a small bottle, convinced it was just his personal medication, legal and harmless. But Gary didn't realize Japanese law has a zero-tolerance policy for cannabis derivatives, even tiny traces of THC. At Narita Airport, a sniffer dog unexpectedly alerted to his carry-on. Customs officers, polite yet firm, confiscated the oil despite his explanations, making it clear that Japan's regulations make no distinction for medical use or minute THC amounts. Zero means zero. His meticulously laid plans were shattered. Gary faced a fine of several $100s and a significantly delayed entry, causing him to miss a critical part of his first business meeting. This wasn't about malice, but a fundamental misunderstanding of international law, proving that what's fine at home can be a serious offense abroad. The lesson is simple. Always, and I mean always, verify the legality of any product you carry into a foreign country, especially cannabis-related items, even if it's legal in your home state. A quick check of the destination country's embassy website or official government travel advisories can save you a world of trouble. Now, that's one type of legal pitfall. But there's another, equally insidious trap that catches many unaware: the allure of a good deal. Consider Brenda Carter, a dynamic 41-year-old marketing executive from Atlanta, Georgia. While enjoying a well-deserved shopping spree in Paris, she spotted a gorgeous designer handbag, a brand she'd coveted for years, at a street market for a fraction of its true cost, just over $100 instead of $3,000. What a steal, she thought, proudly tucking her new acquisition into her luggage. Brenda's itinerary included a connecting flight through Italy. As she went through security at her Italian layover, her bag was routinely scanned. Unbeknownst to her, modern customs agencies, especially in Europe, employ advanced imaging software and sophisticated brand databases that can immediately flag potential counterfeits. The scanner didn't just see a bag, it instantly identified a fake. Within minutes, 2 Italian customs officers approached Brenda. They confiscated the handbag, explaining that importing counterfeit goods, even for personal use, is strictly illegal in Italy and many other European Union countries, carrying severe penalties. Brenda was handed a fine of several $1,000s, a sum that dwarfed what she might have paid for the authentic bag, learning a harsh lesson that her bargain unknowingly supported criminal enterprises. This scenario is far from rare. Counterfeit goods, no matter how convincing or how great the bargain, are a legal minefield. AI-based detection systems and shared international databases mean officials are more equipped than ever to spot these items. My advice? Avoid all counterfeit items, no matter how tempting the price tag. Stick to authorized retailers, even if it means waiting or saving up for the real thing. That bargain could end up costing you 10, 20, even 50 times more in fines than the item itself, not to mention the legal headache. These stories aren't meant to scare you away from travel, but to empower you. The world of aviation security and international law is constantly evolving. What's perfectly acceptable in one country can be a serious offense in another. The key takeaway? When it comes to anything you pack or purchase abroad, ask yourself, could this be misinterpreted or be illegal under foreign law? Research, common sense, and a healthy skepticism for deals that seem too good to be true are your best defenses. Don't let ignorance turn your well-deserved vacation or crucial business trip into a nightmare. Have you ever encountered a situation where a seemingly innocent item caused unexpected trouble at the airport, or perhaps seen someone else caught in one of these traps? You know, we just talked about how a seemingly innocent souvenir, a counterfeit, can turn your European dream trip into a financial hit. It's easy to think of those as isolated incidents, things you can avoid with a little research. But what if the item causing trouble isn't illegal at all, but something you simply never realized was a weapon? I've spent over 5 decades in aviation, and I can tell you, the definition of a weapon in an airport is constantly changing, often without travelers even realizing it. The most critical warnings I can give you are about those everyday objects that can unexpectedly transform into security threats. Items that might seem perfectly harmless at home, but can lead to serious delays, confiscation, or even much worse. Let me tell you about Thomas Blackwood, a 68-year-old retired mechanic from Dallas, Texas, a true connoisseur of gadgets. Thomas was making his dream trip across the pond, flying to London to finally see the Tower and Westminster Abbey. His son, knowing Thomas's love for unique tech, had gifted him a sleek plasma arc rechargeable lighter, the kind that creates a tiny electric arc instead of a flame. Thomas loved it. It was convenient, windproof, and felt futuristic. He carefully packed it in his carry-on bag, assuming it was just a modern convenience. He breezed through security at Dallas-Fort Worth, but at London Heathrow, things took a sharp turn. As his carry-on went through the X-ray, the security agent's eyes narrowed, signaling to a colleague. Thomas was pulled aside, and the agent, with a polite but firm tone, informed him the lighter was detected. Thomas proudly explained it was rechargeable, not a fluid lighter. But what happened next shocked him. The agent explained that all rechargeable lighters, due to their internal lithium batteries, are globally banned from both carry-on and checked luggage under international ICAO guidelines. It wasn't about being a weapon, but a fire hazard. Thomas's unique gift was confiscated, and he was delayed for almost an hour, missing his train connection and learning that rechargeable, in airport parlance, now often means confiscated. Imagine the frustration of having a simple item, a gift, vanish because of a rule you never knew existed. This isn't just about lighters, though. It's about anything with a hidden function or a power source that isn't immediately obvious. Next, I want to share the harrowing experience of Samantha Hayes, a 24-year-old college student from San Diego, flying back to LAX from a backpacking trip through Europe. She'd picked up what she thought was a cool souvenir in Prague, an ornate belt buckle with a tiny, fold-out knife cleverly integrated into its design. It was marketed as a survival tool or emergency item, and Samantha thought it was a neat novelty, something to show her friends. She wore it through airports across Europe without a hitch, so she assumed it was fine. As she passed through the security checkpoint at LAX, the advanced AI scanners immediately flagged the concealed blade within her belt buckle. Within seconds, a stern transportation security officer was at her side, politely asking her to step aside. Samantha was pulled into a separate screening area. The item was swiftly seized, and she faced an intense interrogation by federal agents. The novelty item, to them, was a concealed weapon, plain and simple. She wasn't just a traveler with a questionable souvenir anymore. She was a suspect. They explained that carrying such an item, even unknowingly, could lead to severe penalties and a permanent record in federal databases, potentially impacting her future travel. Samantha, teary-eyed and shaken, spent nearly 2 hours being questioned before finally being released, grateful to avoid arrest, but deeply regretting her purchase. These stories aren't meant to cause anxiety, but to arm you with knowledge. The smartest travelers are often the most careful, conducting their own pre-flight check on their carry-on bags. Before you even leave for the airport, empty your pockets. Go through your bags as if you were the security agent looking for a problem. Assume anything unusual, anything with a hidden compartment, a battery, or a sharp edge that isn't clearly a permitted item, like nail clippers, could be a problem. This includes tactical pens, multi-tools designed to look like credit cards, or any electronic device that isn't a standard phone, laptop, or tablet. If you question it, leave it at home or ship it. Don't let ignorance or a desire for a cool gadget turn your journey into a nightmare. Vigilance is the new key to safe and seamless travel in our modern world. Have you ever unknowingly carried something that caused a stir at security, or perhaps witnessed someone else facing a similar predicament? Share your experiences in the comments below, and if you found this advice helpful, please consider subscribing for more insights that could save you time, money, and stress on your next trip.